Mr. James Scarlett. In Trees merch, we go again.
Oh, fucking hell. I am in Trees merch. It's a tennis day, mate. It's a tennis day.
Of course.
So
you get double wanker. You get to wear your own merch and play tennis. I mean, I say that obviously in front of you wearing a Damnation t-shirt, but I don't have the same public hang-up that you have, or other people have, about being in a band and wearing your own merch. And like, fuck, do you know how long we sat and done these designs? Fucking damn right I'm wearing it.
It's a nice design, mate. But we've both full Steve Harris today. It's not good.
How are you, sir? You good?
I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah, I'm good. You must be feeling the sellout news. You seem to be announcing the sellout of a different thing every day this week.
What a time to ask that. I honestly, what a link, considering we never discussed that. There was one ticket for the Sunday coming on to this. I wonder if, while you sit there with your Trees merch on, I can refresh. Because I put it out.
You've sold out of Night of Salvation. You've sold out of Saturday day tickets, and now you're about to announce. I did not know. Sold
out Sunday. It is now there in red and white on the screen. You cannot buy any Sunday tickets any longer. So, yes, to recap, we sold out the Saturday. Day tickets are gone. Then Night of Salvation went on sale. 25 minutes. Gone, albeit I'm not trying to pretend that Damnation size. 400, I think the venue takes 500, maybe 500 just plus. And as I said in the last episode, I've held back 50 because I know you're bringing 49 friends. So,
right, it's getting worse by the day.
I need as much a guest list as possible. Sold out in 25 minutes, and just as we've come onto this podcast, the final Sunday ticket is gone. There is now only weekend tickets left. I think about 600, maybe a little less than 600, with 8 weeks to go. I mean, not to sell the festival out and totally every last ticket now would be a travesty.
That's awesome. Do you ever get tempted to put on more day tickets to, instead of selling weekends, sell more days, or your
Well, this is my first experience. So I was like, we weren't quite sure what to do. Obviously, you want the weekend ticket, because if you sell, I don't know, so if you sell 500 Saturday tickets and then only 100 Sunday tickets, there's 400 weekend tickets you can't do. You know what I mean? So you're just stuck. You're restricting what you can manage. So fortunately, both Saturday and Sunday, we went to the same point, and so we've sold equally across both days. That's why when I said a week ago or 10 days ago, I don't know, it was 25 Saturday tickets left and 36 Sunday tickets, we were going to the same point, so at least we know it's a bit like, right, okay, we know exactly how many weekend tickets we can, and both days will be equally as busy. So, I mean, I don't know, it felt like at this point that the 600 tickets to sell the whole thing out was entirely realistic. So we've given everyone who could only get the day ticket, and we understand that too. Childcare issues, money issues, maybe not that excited about one of the days, but you still want to come and support Damnation. We were well up for that. So I feel like we've given everyone the chance to come along for just the Saturday or just the Sunday, if that's what suited them. They've been on for months now. They have now sold out. Coming and complaining now, I mean, Jesus, it's a running joke with every festival promoter, because how often, that's all we do. I feel like we just never stop rattling a cage of buy tickets, please buy tickets. It helps us. And then you've got that lineup posted out 1 billion times and begging, and your mail shots and your marketing campaigns and the Instagram, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And then the day it sells out, somebody goes, I was just about to buy my ticket. You've had a year, a full year, and it's today's the day you were going to buy your ticket. Geez, peace.
I mean, mate, it's brilliant news. I'm really very, very happy for you. It's going to be fun.
Well, thank you. This episode will be about the Damnation to-do list. Basically, I am guilty of never really getting that geeky. You are much better on this podcast at really over-explaining things. To us, it feels like an over-explanation because we're the ones sitting in the promoter's chair. But for the listeners, they'll be like, well, of course I needed that. I had no idea what an advancing or backline or text were, and you've explained it. So this is my attempt at being geeky and trying to get really into the weeds with the Damnation planning, the stuff that I usually gloss over and say, oh, we're just doing this, or we're ground transport or hiring cab or whatever. I'm going to try and get into the thought process as I'm doing it, because this is exactly where I am right now. I am going through a to-do list that Angela and Callum have very fancily put together with wee tick lists, and I'm in a headspace to think about actually what it takes to any part of that, to hire the cabins or the Harris fencing or whatever. And so that's what we'll do today, sort of the Damnation to-do list. But it's easier to do that when they're sold out as fuck signs going up left, right and centre.
Fuck yeah. Yes, mate. Good.
Tell me about your weekly waffle before we get to all things Damnation.
I wanted to start you with a quick fun fact, because I get the vibe that some of the audience like these little facts. So my brother sent me this, not for the podcast, and I thought I'd share it with you. That it's about the amount of cider drank. So 2,000 Trees is roughly 20% bigger than Arctangent. It drinks 78% more cider. So for 20% more people, 2,000 Trees drinks 78% more cider, but it only drinks 5% more beer. Now, is that interesting? Well, it kind of is if you're an event organizer and you're making money from beer and cider. I don't know what conclusions you draw from that, but Trees is more of a cider drinking crowd.
And it's not even as if you're the opposite end of the country, like you're up in Newcastle, whatever, where you say, oh, well, you know what, down south there would be the cider drinkers. I mean, you're spitting distance apart for both sites, so that is a strange one. But shout out to the people at Trees. I am one of those cider drinkers on both sites that's doing my level best to keep those numbers up. Yeah,
so there you go. I mean, that I'm just going to leave that floating around underneath of that fact.
Is this a new week? Is this maybe starting segment? You just come in with a random fun fact each week? Okay, I'm up for
it. Maybe. Band booking is fucking going. Oh, mate, you need to remind me to tell you behind the scenes who I've offered for Arctangent for next year. So ATG booking had a really good week. In the region of 30 or 40 offers are out there now. There's about 10 confirmations. Most of the Wednesday's done. 3 headliner offers out there for Arctangent. None of them have played Arctangent before. There's a couple of absolute fucking beauties in there if they come off. You know this lovely bit of the year where it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It feels like it might be real.
Yeah.
I'm basking in the warm glow of the might be.
The one wee bit like massive attacker coming. Yes, let's go. And then they're absolutely not. But I enjoy that.
It's not the like you wake up on January the 1st, 2 headliners short. That's not a fun feeling. So I'm in a good place. And on that note, I wasn't sure if I was going to get time. There's a very big booking agent. He looks after some of the biggest bands in the world, who I won't name, but really, like, think of a massive band. He's the agent. And he rang me yesterday and I missed him. And I was trying to speak to him before we came on and recorded today. And I managed to call him. And out of that conversation, 2 Trees headliners. I knew we were going to chat about one. I hadn't realised he'd taken on this other one that I'd already been talking to through a different person. So 2 really great, more than leads. I don't know what you call it. They're like hot leads. It's basically like, we've talked money, we've talked exclusivity. He has had more than one headliner at the festival before. He gets it. He likes it. I feel like that 30-minute conversation I just had is worth about 2 months of normal work. It's like fucking gold dust. So I'm feeling really excited about that. And in terms of, so obviously there's the big bookings, but I've also really been trying to dig into that camera data and understand it a bit more. What is it actually telling me? Which stages are busy? Are there some slots that suffered? And if so, what conclusions can I draw from that in terms of crowd sizes? And the one thing I have been thinking about is PX3 stage at Arctangent clashes with the main stage. It's the smallest stage, but it clashes with the biggest stage. And I think the last 4 slots of the day, you've got to be really careful, because you're basically going to clash with, like, you're clashing with Clowncore, Rolo Tomasi, fucking, or a headliner. Yeah. And unless that band unless it's a divisive headliner and you know people want, like, I kind of knew that Battlesnake versus Godspeed would work, because not everyone wants to watch Godspeed, and Battlesnake's the opposite. But there were a couple where I got it wrong and it was quite small crowd sizes. And frankly, anyone that was going to clash with Clowncore would have struggled. I'm not sure what you do with that. But really trying to, while I've got the time at the moment, I'm really trying to fucking think. Because, I'm always like, just go with your gut, book. But don't be booking small bands no one's heard of, clashing with Rolo Tomasi or Clowncore or fucking Carnival, because it's tough.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to be busy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the entire point of it. Like you've said before, like getting a band getting a slot before they're ready. Now, that's not what you're talking about here, but not doing the band or the festival justice. And like, okay, you got that slot, you could have done it much better in 2 years' time. It didn't do you any justice, didn't do the festival any justice. This is the same sort of thinking. It's like one of the ones like the band get that slot and it's like, oh, brilliant, it's in a higher slot. I mean, maybe one for the agents to think about as well when they're trying to be a bit more strategic with where they go. Is just being higher on that lineup the best thing for your band? Because would it not be better to be 2 slots down and not clashing with Clowncore or Rolo Tomasi or a band that's maybe just doesn't have that pull or has played the UK a lot? Because especially Clowncore's the one that clashed with KO Dot. No, I don't know KO Dot, but yeah, you can see a lot of people were angry with themselves. Even if they came out the Clowncore experience and be like, it wasn't everything I wanted and more. They were like, I really wish I got KO Dot, but the pull of Clowncore was just extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's always going to be challenging. And also you get this thing where bands always want to, a lot of these Arctangent bands want to play for longer. At Trees, they're all like, give me 30 minutes and I'll fucking go for it. Arctangent, they're like, I would like to play for 70 minutes. So the only slots you can play in are the ones that clash with the headliners then.
Yeah.
And it's not always, I remember A Swarm of the Sun weren't that happy with me because I only gave them 30 minutes on the main stage, but they got fucking main stage, 30 minutes. Nice size crowd. Whereas you could have had an hour headlining PX3 and been quiet. So that sort of thinking is going on. And also for thinking about Trees, the Cave was busier than the Axiom this year. The Cave is the 3rd stage. The Axiom is the 2nd stage. I spent much more money on the Axiom. The Cave was busier. So what conclusion am I drawing from that? Is it that people want heavy music at Trees? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what to think, because there weren't that many massive bands in the Cave, but they were all fucking heavy. It was all hardcore and punk.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, when I went across from was it La Dispute to Birds and Row? No, La Dispute had an amazing crowd in that crowd, but Birds and Row are not a big band by any stretch of the imagination if you put them on locally. I mean, and I'm saying this is the biggest Birds and Row fan in the world. I mean, 100 tickets, I mean, at a push maybe, and they had a cracking crowd in that, so there was clearly... And I don't think the Trees audience were necessarily like, oh, Birds and Row, but I think that stage just had an attraction to it because you knew the theme of the music wouldn't get, and then you were adding the Birds and Row fans, all the people who were maybe had a passing interest in it. But when I was there, I was quite far back in the tent. I thought, it's a fucking incredible crowd for Birds and Row. Yeah.
And on that same day, there was like Soapbox, small band from Glasgow, Bruise Control, real up and coming bands, and they're also playing to like nearly full tents. It's a weird one. The 2 festivals are very different. I have to keep reminding myself that they're different. Like Arctangent, you can stick something early in the day in any of the tents, and they'll almost always be busy. Whereas at Trees, you've got to really think it through a bit more. There was a few quiet sets early on in the Axiom, but then I'm like, I'm just letting you into my head here. But then I'm thinking, is it the weather? Like, was it just too hot? Fuck knows.
Yeah.
This is all I think about. People are talking to me and I'm just thinking about fucking booking bands. I'm not listening to you. Okay, so that's really where I'm at. Big bit of fucking news this week, which most of the world won't care about, is that I have moved from Spotify to Tidal. Me personally.
Yeah.
Now, you'd think, Gav, that my mate Tom would be fucking doing somersaults of joy, right? Wouldn't you?
Yep.
He's been fucking bullying us for over a year, and I sent him a photo of me downloading Tidal, and he just wrote the word welcome, and that was it.
After all these questions and a brilliant welcome.
I felt it deserved a bigger fanfare than that.
It deserved at least 3 wee faces, the wee party pooper with a hat, the wee emoji, and
exactly.
At least 3 of them.
Yes. So I'm kind of poacher turned gamekeeper now, where I'm now recommending everyone goes to Tidal from Spotify. Having spent a week on it, it's identical to Spotify. I'm almost certain that someone must have left Spotify, nicked all the fucking code, and set up Tidal, because it is entirely the same in terms of look and feel and functionality. Weirdly, if you listen to the music I listen to, there is more on Tidal than there is on Spotify, because they've got all the bands. Recently, Godspeed, King Gizzard, Maybe She Will. There's a band called Shearling I've been listening to this week. They are not on Spotify. They are on Tidal.
Are Brieux, the French band, on Tidal?
No, they are not, because I did go and look. They're properly just on Bandcamp, I think.
Aye, I think I stand against it all. Because my thing,
yeah.
like, I get it, the whole fucking the Spotify thing and the guy in the AI and the weapon system and being a bit of a prick. And I was like, right, okay. But I'm a bit like, I'm still in this feeling like, are any of these companies 100% legit? And also, my feeling with Tidal was set up with Kanye West, wasn't it? And he's just a fucking raving Nazi. I mean, he's getting swastika t-shirts sold at halftime at the Super Bowl. So he set the fucking company up. I'm like, there's no way in the world that Kanye West is still involved, and everyone's going, let's go to where the Nazi is. It turns out I think he got forced out or sold his shares, but even still, keep that in mind. Is everyone's like, we set up by a fucking Nazi, so calm down.
Someone did say to me, have you done your due diligence on Tidal? The answer is no.
That's just what I was told.
and I want to be clear that this is me personally, and probably the staff and owners of the festivals will all move, because we have a group account. Doesn't mean we're not going to host the festival playlists or the podcast playlists on Spotify, and the podcast will remain on Spotify. Now, look, I'm not cutting off my nose to spite my face on that at the moment. I appreciate Maybe She Will, etc's efforts. More than 50% of our listeners to the podcast are on Spotify. So everyone needs to make the decision to move. And then maybe there's a discussion there, but there isn't at the moment. So either way, everyone should go and try something else out. There's 6 or 7 different options. Poacher turn gamekeeper completely, but there you go.
Okay, it was odd because I had the same sort of, there's not so much about the moving away from Spotify that much, to be honest. It was more like, is this just one of these fucking performative nonsense things again, that ultimately you're going to dig into Tidal. Andy spends any 2 minutes with a microscope in Tidal and he's going to have all the same problems, which is why that Kanye West came to mind. And I noticed people complaining about Bandcamp as well, and they were owned by another larger firm that obviously had ties to other larger firms, and etc as it always goes. But what I hadn't realised is, hey, I don't pay for Spotify, and I never have. I'm on my friend Graham Johnson, who came to Cheese, his account, which I completely forgot about. So I'm searching my bank account, like, how much do I pay each month for Spotify? Then I realised I've never paid for Spotify. So then I thought, oh, is that an issue? Because not good. I've never paid a single penny into the pot of Spotify. I am funding nothing. But at the same time, like, I'm also not paying anything to the bands. And then I was like, no, that's not really the way it works, because Spotify's terms and what they have agreed with the bands has really fuck all to do whether they've got an extra subscriber or not. I mean, if I had an extra 100 million subscribers or not, perhaps they would change the terms, or perhaps it might not even. So there we go. I am proudly...
So Graham's going to move you to Tidal now.
So he's going to shift me onto Tidal. Honestly, when I found it that way, sometimes I discover it in the other direction. Like, I signed up for Netflix at $8.99, and then you find out you're in a £19 package, and you have been for like a year and a half. I mean, fuck me. I was paying car insurance for a car that I'd sold like 8 months previously. I am the world's worst. I keep no track of fucking any financial thing. I mean, you and I now share a bank account, and you can see that I'm fucking completely irresponsible when it comes to keeping any track of it or record in. I mean, Lou's Brews is owed as a commission for the last hot sauce that sold out like 5 months ago, and I keep meaning to tell you, by the way, we need to invoice Lou's Brews, but then I get distracted by biscuits or something. So, I don't pay for Spotify, so win-win for me. Not only done, so I'm using Spotify, using a platform, and not even supporting them.
I mean, and with regards to using Spotify, the only thing I would say is that I still go and look at the number of listeners and the fans of, and it is quite annoying if you're listening to Tidal. As soon as you open Spotify, it stops playing on Tidal. If anyone out there is a tech wizard can tell me how to stop that, I'd love to, because that is fucking annoying. But either way, Tidal's pretty good, and there is some Tell you what, you got to get your album of the year head on now, mate, because there is some amazing new stuff out recently.
Triple
I'm going to tell you about an album next week, which is the best fucking thing ever in the universe.
Okay. No, I feel like, although I haven't sat down to say, right, okay, these are the ones this year, I feel like I'm in a much better position than I was last year, because last year I feel like I started thinking about it 2 weeks before putting that list together, whereas now there's a few that I know are definitely going to be in there anyway. So, Jesus, I was worried about this getting a bit geeky in here. We all just spent fucking 10 minutes on Tidal versus Spotify.
Good. You tell us what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to? Well, so last week I was down at Bry's funeral. Last week I went down on the Wednesday. Funeral was the Thursday. I had a night with Kelly up somewhere in the lakes or Kendal, and the way back up. So, and that was lovely. The Wednesday we got to go down, and I got to meet his mum and his brother, who I've been talking to since Bry's death. And I mean, Jesus, they put everything into that funeral. I mean, that GoFundMe, you could see where the money was. I mean, the coffin wrapped in Damnation, and they had all. But I mean, the service, Jesus, the service was utterly horrific. I mean, you try to stop yourself that convulsing crying that way when you lose fucking control of your body, because it was just so personal, and good people got up and reading. It was like, unfortunately, it's just my fucking job as a journalist. I've covered 100 funerals, and from children to adults and everything in between, and you kind of, you get used to the styles of funerals. Like you can go like a child funeral, but if it's Catholic, it's completely impersonal. They just spend an hour talking about this is what Jesus wanted, and you can kind of go there and not really feel anything, despite the fact the horrors of a child dying. And then you can go to like an elderly person funeral, and they make it all about wee Janice, and you're in fucking floods of tears because it's her best pal talking about when they went in the nightclub and that. So Bry's funeral was a humanist service, and it was all about that. It was his friends and family, and the focus on Damnation, and he's a movie buff, and the music was film scores, and it was a tremendous. And I have to say, like, I was so blown away with some of the old faces that came down, like the folk I hadn't seen for years, like the old Damnation guys like Mike Hislop and Andy Hogan, Kat Henderson. I mean, people were involved in Damnation like sort of 05, 06, 07, and maybe had seen Bry at certain things, but they still felt that strongly about him after all these years to come down. I mean, it's not supposed to mean the world to me. It was his family, but I mean, I saw it. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is spectacular to have this turnout for people that had known Bry through this connection via Damnation. So, the mum, Chris, God bless her, she gave me all these AAAs from all the Damnations, many of them I didn't have myself, and his ticket to the very first ever Damnation 2005, and he's passed to the first one. So I was like, fuck me, man. It was an emotional roller coaster, and his brother Jim and the mum are coming along to Damnation this year. Turns out the brother likes Orbit Culture as well, so they were. It was great. I mean, it was horrific, but I mean, the send off was great. It really felt like a real gathering of people who knew and loved them, and it was a great few days to be able to send them off like that. So that's what I was up to last week. Then I went for actually into the core. So core was on the Friday, Saturday. By the time I get back up the road, I was no fucking headspace to be going and watching whoever was playing core that night. But I did want to go along. They'd invited me along, maybe in some sort of effort finally smooth the ground of you being fucking try to set them on fire. So I went along on the Sunday, and because I'd missed so much of the festival, I tried to cram in as much as I could in the short spell I was there. I went to see Agriculture, who I wanted to see. They did play Art Tangent, I'm right in thinking that. Well, okay, I've completely mixed them up with another band, and I thought this was the same band I was trying to catch on they would suit me. Unless you've already had them, they were completely suit Art Tangent.
No, they're actually on my list. So yeah, they were good, weren't they?
They were really good. They were really good. It's I thought it was quite, because I didn't know what I was going in for, so I thought it was quite a sludgy start. And then it was like this almost like avant-garde take on black metal. It's like that coming through, despite the fact you're looking at people that look like they're going to be doing post-rock tracks and sort of flannel shirts and stuff. It was really interesting, just clever music with like surprise drum solos and guitar solos in the middle. I really enjoyed that. Went to see Beneath a Steel Sky. It was the band we got records and t-shirts from, Glasgow band. Yep. Guy Ian, I think he was in the band Second Skin. who played Arctangi, terrorised me every time I'm at Arctangi with the fact that you booked him and me never booked him, and he's a fellow Glaswegian.
I can't remember what the name of the band was. It wasn't Second Skin.
Or was it Tora fucking...
Oh, yeah, Halo Tora.
Halo Tora, right, okay, it was that band then. And so he'd said about come down and check us out. I never realised he was in Beneath the Steel Sky as well. So we're down and checked them. Excellent. Enjoyed them in a wee place, Hug and Pint, which was, it's just a wee tiny sort of 90, 100 capacity room. But they were great there. Went back, finally saw Frontier. And that was like, because there's just one of those bands that just kind of forever passed me by, and it's like I've never been at a show, like, but you're such a fan and mentioned them a few times, like surprised that I don't like them, which was never the case. Just I've never really invested any time in them. Thought they were excellent. They're in that strange space between Dillinger Escape Plan's most melodic and most extreme, and they don't seem to move out it. It just seem to pummel you for 45 minutes with that bit where you don't get the melody, but also maybe don't get the most extreme element either. And I really enjoyed that. When you go into Core, it was bizarre. They use I don't know if it's like Mary Hill Community Club or so. So you go into it and it's a community hall. It's exactly with the old big red curtains. It's exactly what you imagine like a local politician talking about roadworks are going to happen. You know, when this wee... So, I mean, it's about character about it, but you just... The last place in the world you expect to see live music. And because of that, the production is just wild. It's just two stands, like a one truss across it, and 8 lights, because there's no lights in, there's nothing to hang anything from. And they're obviously not going to go in there and try and put everything up. So you've got these bands playing in front of these 8 lights, but Frontier all clearly recognised that, and they came in with a full ground floor, the floor package, and they made themselves look like they were playing something like the Ocean would have done in a small club, and made it look like they were playing like a fucking an academy. I mean, it looked incredible. Whoever was doing the lights for Frontier, and I assume it was somebody they brought with them, well played. I mean, they made those 8 lights they had available to them feel like there was like top of the range production aligned with the floor package. So that was like I was most impressed with that. It was like how they made such limited production look so fucking brilliant. Because when Cave-In played afterwards, they didn't. They just had these 8 torches floating about in the background as they played Jupiter. Before Cave-In, I went up and I saw the fucking spectacular Joe Quayle, who just gets better and better and better. She was unreal up in a small room upstairs. Just again,
solo,
completely solo, but heavy as to I was up there with my pal Andy Cattigan, and he was like, Jesus Christ, I'd seen her before, and it was kind of okay, but that was unreal. It was like almost felt like some sort of drone project that you were just sort of mesmerised with. She is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I don't know if she's just getting more comfortable in this world as well, a performing to sort of metalheads and Art Tangent adjacent fans, but it's best I've seen her. The new stuff sounded even heavier and really enjoyed that. Finally, tried my best one more time with Cave-In. I don't think it's for me. I mean, maybe Jupiter's just not a great album, but it's so passive and everything. I tried. I mean, how many times am I going to come on this podcast and say I know I'm supposed to like Cave-In, but I just can't make it. I can't make it exciting.
You know when sometimes you say things on the pod and then people pick it up and spend all week talking about it on Facebook. Maybe Jupiter's Not a Great Album is going to be the one for this week, I think. I mean, it's just like, it is a great album. I mean, if it's not for you, thing is, Cave-In have done a lot of different stuff. Some much more proggy and some much more noisy and some quite fucking Foo Fighters commercial at times. So, yeah, they do a lot.
Yeah, it's just strange. You're looking at the stage and I'm like, everything that they're involved in I love. Like Mutoid Man and obviously Converge and any other bands, for any of the musicians up there. I love that just you put that collection of bands together, which is incredible, because there was the first album again, it was definitely my favourite, the one that opens with White Silence or something that's really heavy. It starts like, that's the Cave-In I always expect to happen, and then I get this like flowing sort of rocky, proggy equivalent, and I'm like, okay, I've tried my best. I mean, I've really tried my best.
How busy was the Cave-In?
Not very. I mean, Core have put out their moving next year dates, and they've not made them official, but they're moving at dates and a new venue. And I don't know what the thinking is behind that, but aye, I'm not going to come on the line and say that I was an absolute chalking room. It was quite. Anyone that's got pictures, they'll be able to see it was quite sparse by the time. I was just sort of at the sound desk and there was nothing really behind me. So I don't know if the rest of the weekend was a bit. It was all done well. I appreciate the invite and the all the sets I saw were well done. So we'll see what happens next year with Core. They're certainly tenacious.
Do you feel that Glasgow is a tough market in that regard? I mean, it's kind of an Arctangent type lineup, I guess. You promote a festival hundreds of miles from where you live.
That's the reason though. I mean, I done an interview with Skiddle yesterday, and they were sort of focused on the very first Damnation and 20 years in and doing a sort of celebration of that. And I always get asked the exact same question. The interview that I done with Skiddle, the guy Tom who did it, was excellent. Absolutely excellent. So many fresh questions I've never been asked before. But one question I always get asked every single interview I've ever done is, why is a Glaswegian promoting in Manchester or Leeds? And his answer's always the exact same. I never believed that the Glasgow scene was, because the Glasgow scene's amazing. We sell out arenas for metal bands. We fill the Barrowlands and the Eltica. We have got a great scene, but the English don't travel. The English don't travel, and there's only so many of us. When it starts to get into the more niche bands, and the stuff that the Damnation or an Arctangent or a Core or Lord of the Lands or North of the Wall or Caledonia Darkness, any of these events, I mean, how many of them have tried and failed? I mean, Mark, when he put on Lord of the Lands, I mean, what more could you ask for? He was bringing in fucking European exclusives and trying to put them in the Barrowlands and barely getting 1,000 people to show up. I mean, it was just heartbreaking to see someone doing it right so often and not getting. He had a year they had Nathrak and Electric Wizard and Demolition Hammer and Tankard and the SWG3, and I still don't think he even sold it. I mean, some of the lineups he had, if they put them on Damnation, would have done 4 times the amount of tickets. And you're just like, people are willing to travel from Wales and Ireland and London to go to Newcastle, and then Scottish folk are already pre-programmed to have to go to London to see Radiohead or Manchester to see Rammstein. So it's not such a hassle for us, or even to get in a bus or a train and fucking whatever and go elsewhere. So I don't think it's. I mean, it probably is possible, of course, but it's as hard as you're going to possibly make it. I mean, everyone has tried, and so far everyone has failed. And the big promoters, the really big promoters, your Triple G's and the DF concerts, now they just don't seem to want to bother with it at all. They would rather stick with the biggest ones that they do and filling arenas, or then your transmits and stuff. And then they just, when it comes to we don't really have the venues for it up here. We do it back, and I just don't think the crowd's here. I think the proof's in the pudding that there's so many of these events have tried and failed.
Yeah, okay. Good.
And that is pretty much that. I'll just wrap up with a wee tour plug. We like final 40 tickets for Manchester. I'm half tempted now at this, now we've done over 300 just to fucking sell the thing out. Like, Manchester's gone right. I'm not even trying to sell enough tickets. I'm delighted with half of it. So if you want your fucking tickets, the last 40 there, grab them. Bristol, it's Cardiff and Brighton beforehand. Come and join us. It's going to be a good wee party in December. What else you going to be doing a fucking wet weekend in December?
Absolutely. And just to remind everyone what the sort of thing we do is, we'll do 45 minutes to an hour, then there'll be a break and another 45 minutes to an hour probably. And then afterwards there'll be a little meet and greet, and we can have a beer and have a chat, and who knows? I mean, there's plenty of nights on the last tour we ended up in bars with people that were at the show. And certainly this time in Manchester, we'll be going massive until late, and everyone will be hanging around for a party. But it's fun. Everyone enjoyed it last time. We wanted to go to different cities, so like Brighton and Cardiff. So yeah, get your ticket. Come and see us.
You can't have Manchester like outdoing you times 4. I mean, it's like it's fucking. We've been to Manchester, going back to Manchester, and going to end up like 350 odd tickets. It's like Brighton and Cardiff. Do your bit. because James wanted a warm up, and we need the warm up. No getting booed in Cardiff, boo, before you shot Manchester for the biggest show. Absolutely riddled with nerves.
Right. Well, I know people like to see behind the scenes, so this is behind the scenes. Gav, reminder, the last time we forgot to book any of our travel or hotels until the last minute, and it ended up, particularly my flight, cost quite a lot last time.
Yeah.
So why don't we start doing something?
Yeah,
it's soon, isn't it?
Yeah, we should. And also, don't we have a tour manager? Is that not Tom's job?
He needs us to tell him otherwise, because he's Captain Spend a lot, isn't he? So we need to tell him what the hotel situation is. And
I love how Tom Beckley's thing was always like, even if you're a small band, having a tour manager makes financial sense, because the savings that the tour manager, an experienced tour manager, will make for you will cover the cost of them, then some. But whereas every time he done something for us, like, there must be a cheaper version of this, Tom. Why is this so expensive? I know you think that we just run 2 massive festivals, right, and we've got millions in the bank, but it's not true, mate. You can't. We're not doing that flight. That's like £100 more expensive than the next one. It's like, aye, okay then. It's like, I think he's used to touring like Papa Roach in Converseville. Maybe it's just so we don't need to save £20 on a flight.
Mate, and he can find you a fucking expensive dinner anywhere in the world.
He will bring you an expensive dinner anywhere.
You can take him to a city where you think there's no expensive dinners here, and he will fucking find you one.
Another great link, though, James, because what would help us out, and who is helping us out with this kind of financial difficulties?
Well, our mate Tom at Cinetech has said the words "we go again" to us, which we are fucking very, very happy about. So you'll only have heard us talk about Cinetech once on this podcast. We've talked about Tom a number of times, actually. But they sponsored us last year, and they're doing so again. So if you remember, Tom, he's part of the Power Tool crew now.
Oh, is he?
He's the guy.
Recruited.
He's everywhere now at the festivals. He's standing around with his fucking Power Tools. He's holding the ladder with Ollie. He's also helping his father-in-law Neil put in the water at both festivals. Tom doesn't need any of this in his life. He's a proper businessman more than any of us, but he does it because he loves it. He's been around for years now. What I hadn't realised until this year is how invested he is in the music. So he is proper into his post-rock. At one point, me and Ollie were chatting, and there's a few of us chatting, and Tom just sacked us off to go and watch God is an Astronaut, because he'd basically been like desperately waiting for God is an Astronaut. I watched most of Code and Cambria with him this year, Alexis on Fire. But I think his big thing is post-rock.
Good.
So he's coming to Damnation this year. He asked me at ATG for some genre lessons. So I think the opening question was, what is sludge? So we kind of walked around the site looking at the Clash Finder, explaining genres. And now we got to do it all for him again at Damnation. So we're going to get him his first introduction. Well, grindcore would seem like a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, if he can survive a worm rot and fucking pig destroyer pit, he's all in.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, he is he's a massive legend, and we're really really thankful. I can't remember if I've told you this, Gav, but on the night before our live podcast at ATG, he acted as my minder. I don't know if we've talked about this on the pod before, but I was basically like every night, Wednesday night, ran around like a lunatic, bed at, I don't know, 4 or 5 a.m. Thursday night the same, and then me and you were kind of like, this is going to cause us problems on Saturday morning, like to do the podcast. So we need to be sensible. You went to bed at 10:30, which made me fucking panic. So I said to Ollie and Tom, I'm really going to need your help here. I can't be sensible. I need someone to look after me. Ollie went to bed, and it was just Tom. And I felt bad for Tom, because he clearly wanted to go to bed, but he took his role really seriously. And I'd given him a 1 a.m. curfew for me. And he followed me around. We drank, we watched bands, and then we went to Walpurgis. And at some point he just reached over and tapped me on the shoulder, and he did like the Alex Ferguson watch tap.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. And then he drove me home, and I mean, short of tucking me in, he did everything he could to make sure that I was.
He's a massive legend. I don't know if he was the man who gave me the stories about Channel 2 and the pigs and the swans and whatever. So, I mean, I've had a chance to spend a bit of time on both festivals, and he is a massive legend. And he doesn't need to pay us to say that. We'll say that without getting paid.
Absolutely. So his company is called Synertec, Synertec. Loads of his staff came to ATG and Trees this year, particularly Trees. I think they had a great time by all accounts, and hopefully that will continue into the future. I don't think I really explained that well last time what they do, but it's pretty mad that during COVID, if you received a vaccination letter, an email, or a text message, it came from Synertec. 100% of the communications around vaccination appointments and all that sort of stuff came through Synertec. Which, if you actually really think about it, how many that must have been. I mean, the population of the country is like 70 million odd, and I don't know, I must have had 10 or more. So their core business is supporting organisations with communication challenges. So they would love to help anyone listening that runs a business, needs help. Synertec, Synertec. And just a big thank you. It makes a difference to us. It makes a difference getting us out on tour. And yeah, we love you, Tom. Thank you.
Tom, when I have a hotel room that isn't Tom Begley snoring into my ear at 4 a.m, and I know it's because I had enough in the bank to get the room next door where I can hear him through the wall instead of in the bed next to me, I am going to be thanking you again. So, class, absolute class. I mean, it's just no beating about the bush. It's no one of these ones where he needs anything for this. He just gives a shit and wants to support it. So, hugely, hugely appreciated. Now, before we dig deep into the geekiness of Damnation, I need a pre-break. And we're back. So, this would be a huge shock to especially in my friends and family circle, but for a guy who fucking co-hosts podcasts, it's not that I hate the sound of my own voice, but when I feel that I'm be talking, the only person talking for, I start to feel like I do like a scratch in the side of my eye. I felt it when I was talking about Cole there. Like, you hadn't spoken for a couple of minutes, and I was like, Gavin, shut the fuck up. Gavin, you're just going on now. So, I'm going to need your help with this, James, because this is a lot of damnation. So you need to chip in, right? You need to just sit there with a coffee and forget that you're part of this podcast too. So, Damnation prep, where I am right now in the final couple of months of Damnation, dealing with, in the last couple of days, the budget, production, crew, paid and volunteers, security, hotels, ground transport, tents, powering the tents with lighting, loos, as in toilets, no loos, brews, cabins, tables and benches, mojo barrier, accessibility platforms, riders and catering, cold and warm, show reps, wristbands and lanyards, photography, insurance, press list, guest list, entry plan, traders, stalls, sponsors. So that's kind of my to-do list at the moment. I oversee it all. However, like, Paul will be dealing with some aspects of that. Angela will be dealing with some of the advanced aspects of that. Marios will be dealing with the production aspects of it. And Callum will be dealing with anything you now see getting posted up, the posters, artwork, videos. I mean, the video that he put together very quickly yesterday for Thomas Lindbergh after the singer for Out the Gates, for those who don't know, had tragically passed away. That's all Callum. So, and then I've got Natasha handling stuff that's in the merch tent, and Mike Tate handling some of the volunteers. So it's not like I need to see through all these aspects from start to finish myself, but I've got oversight and decision making in all of it. So it's all in my inbox at the same time. So just to talk through that, first thing I do at this point of the year is you kind of check in with everyone you've done the whole sort of hold the dates with. So this week you'll be like, the show rep, Tom Stabler. Now, a show rep, for anyone who doesn't know, is the guy on the day who's going to be, he's the lightning rod conductor. He's the guy that all the bands are going to go to when they're looking for their towels. Where's the extra stage times? Can they get an extra Triple A? He's the guy there making the decision. The Tom Stabler's a wonderful guy. I think I might have spoke to him previously because he doesn't like metal. So they're the best people you can get when it gets to things like that, because they're not there to have fun or they don't care about the bands. They're just there to make decisions and make sure everything's on. So he's been with us for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And at the end of the year, you go, here's all the dates for next year. Tom, we need you. It's going to be 2 days, big 20th anniversary. No problem, Gav, looking forward to seeing you. But this is the week where you start to go, Tom, is that still there? Or did you go offered a 3-month tour that you're going to have to take because the money's too good? And which has happened before when you lose people that's that. So, like him, the Mojo Banner Company, they know the dates, but I phoned him and he's like, oh, I'm in Marbella, sunbathing. It'll be good, but let me just see. So you're kind of just flagging up to all the people that you've already said that this is going to happen, but it's not like there's a contract in place. The guy that provides your toilets is signed to say he's going to deliver you 42 toilets and loads. So you just like refreshing everyone's memory that, listen, Damnation's 2 months away. So you start doing that, and then one of the big bits that you try to get into, but it's tackles of the budget, is production. So I had a meeting.
What do you mean by production?
So everything you see when you hire out BEC Arena, you get an empty tin can. It's, if anyone's ever been to a Comic-Con or a dog show or anything like that, you see what BEC Arena looks like when Damnation's not on it. It's an empty tin can. Production is everything that's in there for the show.
So they have there's no staging, no truss, nothing to hang lights off in there. You can't hang off the building. You have to hang off.
I think you can get, I think they can, there's sometimes you get if the support beam that's holding up the roof is in the right, this has been explained to me before, there's some of the rooms that it's in the wrong direction, so it's got no load bearing. There's no been had a certificate. And then other bits of the venue where it has a load bearing certificate, so you can get off some bits of it, but it's ultimately that's not a truss. And when you come to Damnation, all the lights you'll see will be in proper truss, but I think there is bits where you can take up banners and such, that you can have the side stage, you can have, but I don't, the actual lights and the screen that isn't off the, I don't think it's off the venue roof itself. So you get an empty tin can. Now, I think we've done in the exact cost of our festivals, it was like 86 grand or something was to put production in for Damnation last year. I knew there was going to be a jump, obviously. We're trying to do everything better. I brought Marios in because his job at Damnation is to strive to make everything look and sound better and run better. Better crew, better lights, better staging, better, just everything done. And then my job is to make sure it's done within a budget that Marios has a festival next year to come back and do that job for. So if he's doing his job properly and I'm doing my job properly, we should be at odds slightly, because he's looking for the most idealistic, perfect example of what he can do, and I'm looking for the best result I can get from Marios within a budget that Damnation can sustain with it. Tickets going to £300. So we went for lunch at Angelito's, the Mexican tacos place, vegan place, which will be at Damnation over the weekend. And he's like, the budget's went up 50 grand.
Is that what he delivered to you? Fucking hell.
And budget's went up 50 grand. And we're like, right, okay.
He tells you that after you've just had a month of holidays.
and after he's finished the last taco, which is a bit like, right, okay, I get it, I understand it, but let's see what we can do to go between improving Damnation and experience for everyone and having all the best talent available to you and making sure that it's a viable business. So we're in that process at the minute. Like, where do you make those shavings? Can you use the pre-existing screen that was there rather than getting one and have a slightly higher definition? Is there an option to, like, he had the crew in for an extra day because he thought sound checks were going to be there on the Friday, which is no longer going to be the case because the Saturday bands are only flying in. They're on tour. They're not available on the Friday to do sound check like we'd done previously with the likes of Leprous and Julie Christmas. So it's bits and bobs where we're having that discussion where you're trying to get that 50 grand to be ideally closer to 25 grand. I mean, we always knew there was going to be a jump. It's just like, where do you draw the line on those perfect? So that's what we're doing with him in a minute. And then as that conversation is going, it's like pyro. Looks like we're going to have pyro in for the Sunday, at least for the Sunday in the main stage. So What do we want to do with that? Because Marios works with festivals where there's a lot of recharges. In fact, you could have a. I find recharges to bands. Recharges mean we provide a rider, the backline, tech specs, and then they'll come in and say they want pyro or they want a specialist head for the top of their guitar cab. And we're like, look, that wasn't agreed in the deal. It wasn't like specific. So we can get it for you, but it'll be recharged to you. I done it last year for the first time with a pyro, with bands like Nails or Employed to Serve who wanted to use pyro, but it wasn't in their deal. And I just found that, like everything when it comes to money, it's time consuming. I don't like drawing up invoice for it, then you need to chase them. I don't like doing it. I don't like doing the recharges, so it's not ideal for me. How do you handle that?
Well, I think trying to do it before you paid them is helpful as well. I mean, so we do recharge particularly for backline, because each deal is different, but some will just be like you get standard festival backline, like you can share our drum kit, but it's the drum kit we give you. And some want specific drum kits, and some want specific drum kits, but we didn't agree it as part of the deal. And if we didn't agree it as part of the deal, then we need to recharge it to you. So yeah, Sarah does organise the recharges for those sorts of things. And I mean, it's complicated because like I just had a band who will remain nameless that we paid for their flights, and we just saw the flight invoice, and it's got some fucking lot of people on it. And we're like, who are these people? It turns out there's kids on it. They brought their kids with them. And now, we've got them to take the kids off, but they're refusing to take the nanny off because the nanny this is genuinely happening this week. They're like, so Sarah's question to me is, how fucking hard do you want to push on this? Do you want to pay for the nanny's flights or not? It's like, well, I mean, not really. I don't really want to pay for the nanny's flights because flights aren't cheap, are they? This is probably, I don't want to give away who it is. So,
yeah,
that's them charging us for something, but it all comes under this whole like advancing and recharging.
What's the argument for that?
Who pays for what?
They've accepted that, okay, they're not Metallica and they're not going to get away with getting their kids' flights bought for by the festival. What's the process of thought that the nanny would have to be paid?
I mean, mate, this is the thing. Are they chancing their arm? Are they just waiting for us to kick off? Because I just wish they'd been upfront about it. If they'd said to me, this is the fucking thing. If you want this to happen, this has to be in the deal. That would have been a different conversation. I'd have probably agreed to pay for the fucking nanny. But don't be sliding in a nanny as a crew member. Because we're in a fucking crazy world then, aren't we?
Yeah, I have to say, James, a way that I've never been caught out with that, despite not always, but despite having flights involved with a lot of deals, is the number gets agreed before anything's booked. So with a deal for, Pig Destroyer in the past, and they say we need this and flights, I'll say, right, okay, well, if I was all for X amount, does $4,000 cover it? Then that's up to them. It's not like, oh, by the way, flights have spiked from Atlanta, would change, somebody want to go in business class. Well, it's like, I know that $4,000's the cost on top of their fee to get it done.
Yeah. And that the cleanest way to do it is to give them more money and then they sort it out. The problem is, an agent the other day who does listen to this podcast said to me, you can either pay $13,000 for this band or you can pay $10,000 plus hotels and backline. And it's a complicated calculation, isn't it? And it's like, how many hotel rooms is it? Are they twins? What star is the hotel room? What backline do they need? It's not a quick calculation to do. And also, there's a big time thing for Sarah and her team, not for me.
Yeah.
And if we take on hotels and backline,
well, that's the thing. This is a big time thing for me. I am responsible for all of this. So when it came to the recharges last year for the pyro, it was a couple of the bands. It was about like after. Well, do you just want to? Do you just don't want to cover it? No, I covered the most expensive bit. The techs. Who bring the pyro were the most expensive part of the whole deal, and I covered the gas. So I was only asking for whatever, or I covered the transport and the techs, and all I was asking them for was their share of having it there in the gas. It was a couple $100, £300 each maybe to have that as part of their set, and it was a couple of the pushback, and I'm always default. This is a problem, like business Gav, isn't there? Like me, the guy in front of you, has a bigger voice in my head than the business gav. I tend to just go with like, okay, like just let it slide. And last year it was like, no, this is pre-agreed. Even if it is only a couple £100, it's due back. I don't want to have to be chasing this, and it all gets paid. But you're just like, having to do that. If it's a 4 package and then somebody's drum kits gets changed, and then there's that, like, imagine having to do recharges for fucking 50 odd bands with different things in it. It would just be a nightmare. So at the minute, we're discussing with Marius, me, Paul, and Marius, like, how do we want to play that? That's taking up a lot of time. So on the face of it, I am not the guy who deals with production, yet I'm involved with it right to the minute of every single, we'll hire in that second bit of fucking, that change a drum kit, are you okay with this guitar getting bitten just in case you need it, this spare, this transport. So production takes up a lot of my time, despite on the face of it not making those decisions, and also having fuck all idea about what's going on with production. I just want it to look good and sound good, but it's still on the to-do list for me. Until that's ticked off, and that is probably going to take up the most amount of time.
Do you find this like you're not a man who ever appears to be stressed? Do you find this stressful? Because the reason I ask that is because I used to get, before, sort of pre-Sarah and Matt and a bunch of people that we've taken on, the people doing the advancing wouldn't know what to say yes or no to, so they would always ring me. So in the 2 months leading up to the festival, every fucking evening I was getting phone calls like, this band are kicking off, that band are kicking off. Can we pay for this? Can we pay for that? I'm now removed from it a bit. I trust the team to get on with it. Do you find it stressful?
So, not stressful as such. I found, like, I was on holiday for a long time there, like, get the violin again, Gavin, we spent too much time in Florida, and then I came back, and then I was dealing with the Bry situation, and we've also got the podcast. But so what I felt was like the inbox was just building, and when I'm looking at the list and all the stuff that was there, what was finding difficult was the starting point. So I'm explaining to Kelly, I'm finding difficult the starting thread to, like, it doesn't matter which thread it is, because they all need fucking people. Like, where am I? Like, Tom Begley's chasing me for the artwork for a Branca Studio design thing we're doing. That needs dealt with. But at the same time, Pins and Knuckles need to know exactly what's happening with this one, because they're involved in it, and I can't cannibalise the festival mercenary in the range. And that's right down to, do I want another patch? Do I want beanies? How many do you want to go with a long sleeve? Like, when it comes to stuff like the merch and the PR and the marketing, like, that's all me when it comes to Damnation. But I still need to deal with the production. I still need to deal with the cabin hire. I still need to deal with what we're going to do with Pyro. So it wasn't so much of sitting there getting stressed. It's just like, where did I get a shovel into this big landfill in front of me, and where did I start? So this week has been where I've started, that I've just said, right, okay, I tackle all the press list. Who gets to come, who doesn't get to come. It's all the press list and access to the festival is on me. And that's where I started. So yesterday I was like, okay, I've got all these ones, people now chasing me. And then you go into the press list, and where I'm just a not... I've got so much personal, like, anger directed towards this because of my own, like, just people getting in touch from. I don't care if your webzine and your fanzine gets 0 views, and no one. In fact, I know for a fact that most of them do get 0 views. That's not why I'm going to tell you can't come to Damnation, because I don't mind people making effort. And it's even if you've done a really good piece and you've had really good preview pieces, and I don't know, a few hundred people have read them for the year. Fine, you've done good work, and that you don't need to be TPTV with 1 billion views to get access, or Krang to get access to Damnation. But they get in touch with you and they say, "Hi, Gavin, we'd like to send along 2 reporters and a camera person and a photographer, camera person, to the festival to cover this week." And every single time, I just go click onto the link, click up into the search bar, Damnation, search. Nothing. Sometimes from 20 years, nothing in the 20 years. I'm not even talking about this year. And I just go back like, in what world? And why are you? I don't understand it. And I get you're still working in the 1980s, that you think the reviews. Reviews are fine, right? But the reviews are for the bands. It's like the review's going to say, "Oh, the world was a beautiful place. I'm no longer afraid to die." Were great, or they weren't great. It's like there's very little reviews actually about the festival, and no one's reading the reviews either. So I don't care that much about that. I mean, I'm happy for them doing it, happy for the bands to get some recognition, but the previews and us announcing the bands and you getting some traction with the fact the Corrosion of Conformity are coming and doing the European exclusive, or we've got Napalm Death doing their biggest ever. I mean, why is no one making a fucking deal about the fact that Napalm Death are about to do their biggest ever UK headline show after, 30, 40 years? Why is no one saying that's an amazing feature idea about Napalm Death? Even about Damnation. Why is no one making any deal how Damnation's quietly become the biggest indoor metal festival in the fucking world? It's like, it's on your doorstep. It's just like, they get back to you and they go, we never get your press release. I never fucking sent you a press release. I mean, like, what are you talking about? That's the level of journalism we're working at. That's not journalism. Journalism is not pressing repost on something I've written for you. Yeah, like, you act like it was difficult to see. You're so switched off with what's happening in front of you that because it's on Facebook or because it's on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, like, you never thought to yourself, oh, by the way, I'm in music journalism, isn't I? That's what I call me. I woke up today and I call myself a music journalist. I could write something about this, even in the laziest form of taking what's there and putting it there. You need it to be handy to you in your inbox for you to even, like, to just put out the exact same words. And then you come in to me without doing that for 20 years and you want me to hand you, what, £600 worth of tickets so you can come along and maybe do a half-arsed review. It's... Aye, James.
Mate, I love the way at the start of that, you kind of, you thought about whether you were going to wind yourself up and then you just let yourself go.
Because I get it. It's all volunteers. No one's paid on all these sites. I get it. I don't want to go into harsh. They are very poorly run. They're very poorly written. They're just not good. I mean, if you want to look at a good example of people that are trying their level best without being trained musicians, Razor's Edge are an example of proactively going out there and doing what they can to get the stories, setting up interviews, try to generate some actual content that wasn't just handed to them in a fucking plate. And those are people who have full-time day jobs doing other shit, who still find the time to do it as best as they can without that training and without that experience. And you see these other ones that are just like fucking, just any chance we can just get a few tickets so we can put up a picture and saying, and content creators and fucking influencers and... Now, I mean, it's like, I see if you don't, listen, mate, see if you don't have 2 million followers. If you don't have 2 million followers, do not tell me you're an influencer. It's like, who are you influencing? Who the fuck are you influencing? So,
I mean, you've also got the thing where you've got a fixed capacity at some point and you're getting very close to selling out. So every ticket you give to a press person is one you can't sell.
Yeah, and then I'm getting like, there's some people that barely know you as well, because that's one. So everyone wants into the sold out event, don't they? Like, and then they're like, well, any chance we can have these 4, 5, 6 passes? And like, I mean, imagine a chap on your door and says, any chance you can give me £1,200? They're like, well, how ridiculous! Why would I give you £1,200? Well, that's just what you've asked. You've just asked me for £1,200. It's like, I don't understand how you're conflating these issues. It's like, so the press list is also what I do. The AAA list and the guest list. Oh my God. Oh, we're getting fired up now, boys.
Yeah, well, we're going to need to have a chat as well about this.
So,
why have you gone around the Arc Tangent telling everyone they can come? That's what I don't understand.
Well, listen, I know why. You know why? Because I have the best time in my life at those festivals, and they look after my family, and my family have the best time of life. And you hand me a slab of fucking drink tokens, and I'm sorted out with a tent. And like, for me, there isn't enough. I mean, see the difference of getting somebody you've barely known in the industry asking you if they can bring their entire family, who I've never posted about your festival, never shouted about your festival, never shouted about your podcast, never shown any real support in any way. And then you guys, the teams, I mean, it's just two different fucking conversations. So, and likewise, I mean, like, ultimately, when I'm coming down and taking those tickets, if we weren't pals and we didn't know each other, I mean, I would be buying an Arc Tangent ticket, wouldn't I? So it is money that would go into a pot that is no longer in a pot because I'm getting it for free. So there's a payback for that. And I'm telling the people, and the people I'm telling, who am I telling? Fucking Tom, who's supporting the podcast. Ollie, who's helped me get the fucking thing parked. Rob, who's like yourself or Si, offering the generosity to get a ticket, so it's not like for like. So bring your team, bring your army. Let's go.
Okay. I mean, I'm ignoring some people at the moment, but yeah, we're coming.
Aye. So so what we do, guest lists are tricky things and they're messy, and you don't want them in a list at the start of a festival when people are there trying to get through and you've got a guest list of fucking 100 odd, 200 odd people trying to come through at the same time. So what you're hoping for is, or what we do is we advance all, we just send all the tickets out. So that's great, and it's done, and it's another job off the table before it starts. You can't do that with AAA. Well, you could, but we don't do it with AAA because our AAA's are laminates. So we're not sending those out, and the cost that would be involved and getting lost and all the rest of the shit with a bunch of laminates and lanyards for AAAs. So that needs to be a physical list where people can cover. And then who gets on the guest list and who gets on the AAA list, because everyone wants the fucking AAA list, and some bands are just taking the absolute piss. Some people are taking the absolute piss. And
what does AAA mean? Is that literally
it's literally
access anywhere?
It's literally AAA. So then there's a trust issue thing goes on with that as well, because see, trying to go laminates per stage, security switched on, not because I think we've discussed this as well. Security show up on that day on their rota, and they know nothing about your event, they know nothing about the bands, they know nothing about the passes, and they get a 20-minute debrief on what happens with the show stop and making sure that there's going to be busy bands and the crowd surfers are going to get caught. They don't sit and do a PhD on your passes and lanyards before they go, and people are passing in groups of 20, 30, 40 at a time. It's just not realistic in the dark to be expecting anybody to be like, oh, is that a double A? And is that one a quadruple A? So you just need to hope that you keep it as restrictive as you possibly can and people don't take the piss. I mean, the problem with that is like sometimes it's the bands themselves who aren't used to hospitality at that level, getting a bit too drunk in the bottle of Jaeger that's there, and then they're the ones that start taking the piss, and then they want their girlfriends up, and then they want their pals up, and people are swapping lanyards, and it all starts to get a wee bit iffy. But it's never been too horrific, it's never been too problematic, but we need to make sure that the AAA list is what you want there. All the bands, like all your kind of sponsors and types, and then agents and managers, people who have got an actual job to do, that are going to go into, and don't even be a big agent with a big band, but if you're the agent for Overhead the Albatross or Dinner Celestial Birds or Hidden Mothers, you should have access to the dressing room where your band is. It's just a professional courtesy. You don't need to be the world's biggest agent to do that, but it's the people. Then you get you get crew lists in. It's like the bands get floated it. The crew list is 20 deep and everybody wants a AAA plus one, and you get some of that stuff that you just need to. It's a sensitive topic because everyone feels that everyone talks themselves into the headspace that they should get a AAA, or they helped you out once, or they were part of a festival back in the day or whatever, and everybody just wants a fucking AAA. I mean, that balcony, for example, that was maybe quite restricted last year, but it's just people start piling in and talking past the security, and I was going to get
there's people in there that didn't have the right pass on, wasn't there? And then once you're at that point, then it's awkward, because it's not like that's people that you don't know. Aye, it's people that you know.
Aye,
so then you've got your mates blagging, and I've had situations like this where it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, now you're going to make me look like an asshole.
Aye.
Because you're blagging.
And that's exactly what happens. So then you're in it. It's like, so you say, right, okay, you're clearly not supposed to be in this room, but we know each other through some sort of relationship, or you've came in with someone else who is supposed to be here. And now what am I going to like embarrass you and put myself in a position that everybody gets spiky with me by saying, well, you need to leave? It just becomes its own thing. So aye, it's something currently working through. Riders. Have you got anything else?
From one hot potato to the next.
So riders, now I will work closer with Angela this year. Angela is going to help out much more this year in the terms of the advancing riders, the hotels, which she's been excellent with, ground transport. So I'm hoping that this, she's such an organised woman, there's a lot of this is just going to happen. But riders, again, I need to sign off on it, because no one, who draws the line at any given band, because you get a massive band like Opeth who don't take a piss at you, who could. And then you get a tiny band like Band X who desperately try to take a piss at you and feel that they deserve it, but don't deserve it. So we've had this discussion before. You get bands that are booked for £500, submitting riders that would be about £500. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever. And I need to go through and make sure what's important, what's not, because you get situations where you get an essential honey and lemon, or I don't know, something like that. A type of like an allergy that person or that band can't eat or won't eat against what we were going to put out for the bands. So I need to be aware of what's going on every single band's rider, and then make sure it tallies up. And then also, like most things, when you pass it on to a third party, even a close third party, and it's not their money, including my mum, when she done them, the bill just seems to rise. When I'm doing the riders, the bill seems to be like a lid gets kept in it. Even when this bill just seems to rise, and you're like, wait, what, do we need that? There wasn't an alternative to those beers. There wasn't a cheaper vodka. There wasn't like, does that band really need champagne? I mean, did they not play to like 60 people in audio the last time? Did they get champagne in Glasgow? So that's one side of it. And then I've got the hot. So we deal with the cold catering side of the rider, all the food, the drink, like all the snacks, everything except your hot meal. Then your hot meal is what we'd provide the token for. So then it's a case of, we have someone available that can do a lot of vegan curry and our chili and burgers. But then you get the bigger bands who maybe we want to be a bit more selection. We want to be able to go to taco place as well. And we want to go to Greek place that are not going to serve their meals for any less than a tenner, but your food tokens are to the value, I don't know, $7.50. And then you need to decide where's the cut-off point with that, with every single band. And then you get the bands that come in and like, I mean, you guys just quite lax. I mean, it tends to be if somebody says they need 14 passes because they're flying in and they do have 7 crew ability, I don't argue the case about the nanny or the driver or the second driver or the third driver who's not even there or the friend who showed up from Manchester ends up, because that's an argument I'm just not going to get into.
It's really hard, isn't it? And what you don't want to be doing is feeding the boyfriends and girlfriends of the band. You want to be feeding crew and band members, and it's tricky. We've now gone down the crew catering route, so there is one tent that you go to get your food, rather than using the food traders. But it's a hugely open to abuse system, and it's quite hard to control because you're not just feeding bands, you're feeding your staff as well. So yeah, hard. Yeah,
and it's expensive. Yes, as soon as you feed anyone out with, I don't know, like a city centre McDonald's where you can get Happy Meals, everything's just pricey. Everything is got that premium rate, especially for you guys out in the field. You're like, you get a chicken dinner that would cost you, I don't know, £5 from the city centre that it's now 15. It's like, we went to a couple of companies and they're like, try to get it under like £12 per person to actually get someone to serve up a pre-made pot of chilli and a pre-made pot of vegan curry. I mean, £12 per person. It's like, what the band needs to do is like, blagging a few more tickets. Next thing you know, you've got £1,000 in that direction, £1,000 in that direction. You're quickly losing.
Yeah.
So
it's
riders,
and it's hard because it's a per person charge as well. It's quite hard to control that because it just fucking snowballs, and then you got big cost.
Absolutely. So that is something that I am currently knee deep in, the riders and what we're going to do with the hot and cold catering. Cabins. So we, surprisingly with the venue and how big it is, actual space to put bands in is quite limited. When we use those dressing rooms for the biggest bands, and a lot of those are shared along the front. Those bands, they've become their own sort of legendary sort of dressing room in the metal scene. I've had a few bands now say to me, like, we'll go down a slot and we'll move to our stage if we can have a balcony dressing room. Basically, whatever you want, as long as you get a balcony dressing room, because we want to live like rock stars and sit and watch the main stage from a glass balcony for the whole day. And that's class. And then there's 8 at the back, smaller rooms that kind of really only suitable for one band, but you need to share them and just use them as sort of like safe spaces, I suppose, where people can put their belongings and laptops and we can get some food and drink into them. But we still need it. The production office didn't work up there, far too loud. Need a big cabinet at the back for that. The catering, we've nowhere to put it, because when you tried to do it upstairs, it was just too messy. It's too confined as is. So we put up a catering cabin out the back as well for we put a fridge in it, and it's like all the stuff for coffees, teas, making sandwiches, wraps, pot noodles. And then So throwing Angela back, we still want we want a smaller cabin for storage for everything for the Sunday, and we had a cabin that we booked in last year for Danny Filth that was never used because they were looking for 2 dressing rooms and the second cabin was never used. So the problem with that is the cabins only fit on one truck. So you can get the longer one we're using for the first 2, but by the time you need a third cabin, you might as well get 4 because cabins will sell like £24 a week. They're nothing. But it's the trucks to get them there. So now I'm thinking, right, okay, there's going to be a Gav cabin. So there's going to be a crew cabin, not a crew cabin, because I'm doing one of the crew will have dressing room, or one of the dressing rooms upstairs, so it's a bit more comfortable for them this year. So there's going to be catering cabin, production cabin, storage cabin, Gav cabin. So,
mate, this is the greatest news of all time. I can't believe you're telling me in front of everyone. We've talked about this.
Maybe I'll get that one dressed, and I'll have like, you know, when you see them at the big bands like Guns N' Roses and that, and they've got the curtains and the flowers. That I might get it dressed as well, because you know what,
it's going to need sofas, mate.
All joking aside, I'll be quite a small, it's just like a 9x9. But like when somebody gives you a gift or your vinyl or you buy a night my merch, see the amount of shit I just lose because there's nowhere in the, like, every fucking bit of spaces is being used by everyone else. So you get money. Sometimes you like, oh, there's a envelope back for one of the merch bits. Go and put that somewhere safe. Like, where the fuck in my back pocket? It's like I don't have anywhere to put this stuff. So maybe having a wee locked cabin where I can put my personal belongings and us 2 drinking.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's for the belongings. I've got you.
It's for the belongings. So, and the point of that last cabin is basically, it'll probably cost me like 80 quid or 100 quid to be there, because I'm already paying for the extra cabin to show up for the storage, for all the booze doesn't get stolen on the Saturday, and then we're doing runs to Asda on the Sunday because everybody's drank the booze. The knock-on effect for that we need to measure up is the fact we've got 6 tour buses coming on the Saturday. So the cabins might not be able to go where we want them because we're going to need 6 spaces at the back of the main stage for all the tour buses.
Mate, so look, an on-site cabin, we're not past the cabin yet. An on-site cabin is a dream of mine. And whenever I'm in a budget meeting, I'm like, you can't fucking... Hold on 2 seconds, mate. So I haven't finished talking about cabins yet. This is something I kind of like dream about. My dream at Trees and ATG, particularly ATG, is that I have my own cabin in the site that I can go in and fucking shut the door on. But when you're in a budget meeting, you look like an absolute bellend going like, yeah, well, I just think could we just get one less artist liaison staff member and no pay rises, and do we really need that much fencing? But James has got his own cabin in the site. But it would be lovely sometimes to fucking close the door and just sit there for a minute without talking to anyone you don't know and just collect your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really jealous of you, and I'm coming in that fucking cabin. I'm well jealous. I think it's the best addition to a festival ever.
That in itself is going to be the problem, because you said as well, like, it isn't like you should have a VIP bar and then you can have VVIP bar and then you could have a artist bar. But the bit is that as soon as there's one rung up in exclusivity, that's what everyone wants to go. So you end up with a cabin like a 9 foot by 9 foot cabin and 13 people
and a queue outside the door.
And you're a bit like, this has lost all its charm now because everybody's trying to be in the exact same space. We've just moved up a notch, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, I suppose that's the whole point of that Gav's balcony. That it was like, the whole point was to move all the production to its own separate bit, to let Tom and Angela and everyone do their job properly with listening to Grindcore. But then everyone who wanted to be in production, no one wanted to be in production office now. Everyone wanted to be in that balcony. I mean, you move that balcony to somewhere else and it's like, okay, I want to be there now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the balcony is a sought after thing, isn't it? We love the balcony. Okay. So, mate, tricky. Okay. These are the important bits of running festivals.
These are the important bits, but even right down to the cabins, we need to know about how much access, how many buses we've got. Will the buses have trailers? Because you put in the 24-foot cabin there and then that stops one bus from getting parked. That's a much bigger issue now, because now you've got a bus that needs powered that's where? And in a Manchester industrial estate next door. So that's its own. You do not want to like fall into that trap. So doing that at the minute. Sponsors. We have the best motherfucking sponsors at Damnation that I could dream of. Currently, ISO merch that everyone knows about, Holy Goat, Pins and Knuckles, Cult Never Dies, Lose Brews, and Meliora. I know them all personally in a personal level. They're all in the music business for all the right reasons. Fucking love the sponsors we've got involved with Damnation. But they all want different things. Their purpose for being there is all for very different reasons. I mean, like, ISO merch have got the stall, but their bigger goal, the stall's there to make them some money, but their bigger goal is brand recognition. That they're involved with Damnation, Arctangent, Drees, Bloodstock. I mean, sales are all great for them and probably helps them cover costs, but brand recognition, they want you to think when you're going to get a 9 Inch Nails, a Metallica and Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt that you go to ISO merch. So they're not too worried about other things. They want competitions to drum up support and have their socials get new likes. That's what they want. Holy Goat want to sell their beer. So you don't hear from Holy Goat at all. They're just in the distance, in the background, somewhere in Dundee, creating these fucking IPAs. But what they want is for you to go there, buy their beer, which they probably don't make anything from at Damnation, but then go and order it in future. Because you know what it's like with a product. It doesn't matter if it's a fucking hot sauce you like, or jam, or cereal. Once it's something you like, it's something you just buy. It's maybe getting like, how do you get that type of pizza or chicken nugget to the person is the difficult bit. And Holy Goat use Damnation as their way to be that IP, that expensive, posh, beer snob IPA. You've got Pins and Knuckles that, again, they're a bit more the brand situation. They want to be, their focus isn't so they don't sell merch, they produce it. So they want to get new leads to bands like Nails or Pig Destroyer or Dragged Into Sunlight and create new relationships. So when they go out and tour, they use Pins and Knuckles and Pins and Knuckles factories that are all over the fucking planet and build those relationships with bands. But they're not so worried about, they're not going to sell you in. They don't even take a stall. So you need to make sure that they're getting it. Cult Never Dies are a wee bit of the both. They want to have the stall that makes it, but they also want to be that specialist. You want your black metal book, you want that recognition you're going to get from that, and then you get that with Lose Brews. Buy the fucking sausages. I'm not quite sure what that boy wants, to be fair. He wants his team to keep humping Man United, I suppose. And,
mate, I fucking was hoping you weren't going to bring that up on the podcast.
I saw his TikTok and everyone, I was like, oh, I had a wee snippet of you.
I actually had to delete the message thread between me and him so I could never see it again.
And finally, Meliora, who again, they want this might not be something that works for them, maybe something that works for them great. They want other festivals out there. So very targeted marketing, very different things they want for the sponsors. Some of them want a guest list, some of them are bored about a guest list, some of them need stall space, some don't. So you're trying to keep, these guys are supporting you. You want to show them the time and effort that it takes. And that's all me. Again, like the press and the marketing side, that like the where we're going to put, I'm dealing with the venue, for example. Sponsors is all me. And that doesn't, like Angela and Paul and Callum and Marius are not dealing with the guys at Holy Goat or Lose Brews about where things are going to happen. So that's time consuming, but worth it. And then, the budget. Yesterday, last night, you think as well, especially you've been from an accountant, that you plan something here and you ring friends all the things you're going to do and say, if you hit this number for that, the budget will be this, profit or loss will be this. The sliding scale's fucking phenomenal because every single day something seems to surprise you in our $5,000 $5,000 fee, or you end up getting money back. I don't know, a VAT return or something. You lose Frail Body that were going to cost you X amount, but replaced by Devastator, who didn't cost as much as Frail Body, and your budget's just always moving as you move forward. And you try not to. I say to Kelly sometimes, it's like sometimes you get hit with like a surprise $10,000 cost for something. Oh, $50,000 cost it was going to be for production. You can't look at it like $50,000. You can't look at it the way you would look at it as if in your wallet or purse, because if you did, you'd drive yourself absolutely crazy. Yeah. You have to look at it as like this organism that is going to be, by the end of the year, it's going to spit out this bottom line, which you're probably much better at guessing what that number's going to be at the end than I am. But even at the minute, for us, we're doing a ticket sale as if you go and you pay your first instalment plan, that's a ticket sale is. So it's budgeted as us, as if I've taken all the money, the kickback, the half rate, everything's there. And the VAT's been paid, the PRS has been paid. And what I've got on our side of it, but I don't know if that person's done 3 months of it and then just stopped. And that ticket sale's actually only generated, instead of it's £120 or £110, it's only ever generated 30 or 40. So, and to sit and do that, it's just too much. I just don't have the headspace to even think about going through the whole dashboard and getting into every single ticket plan and seeing who fall through. So I'm hoping I can go into schedule at some point this week and say, can you give me a rough outline of what percentage are we of people have actually seen through the payment plans or not? So the budget, like, again, is something that's, you could probably organise Damnation with the same template you did at the start. Ultimately, the bottom line is going to be what the bottom line is. You checking it every other week or month isn't going to change it. But in your own headspace, the person that's that bottom line's yours, it's difficult not to continue to go back to it and just keep calculating and make sure you're getting things right.
I mean, what you want is when you do your first budget early on in the year, you want a big chunky margin so that it allows for things to move, don't you? If you're tight, which you are some years, it's not great when these hidden things come in. And we've got a load of other moving parts, like how much money would you make on the bar? So, like, how do you guess that? And how does the weather and other factors affect how much money you make? So it can swing wildly for us, tens and tens and tens of thousands up or down.
Yeah.
Which ultimately affects your overall profit. So yeah, it's fucking. I try not to. Basically, my attitude is you think about it when you're doing it, and then you move on and do the best job you can. Because otherwise, you
obsess over it.
You'd fucking have a sleepless night every night about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right about the swings. Like, we've got the last year's Damnation was busier than the year before's Damnation, but the merch sales that we done, or the cut from the merch that we got, was much bigger the year before, because a complete X factor that you never dragged into sunlight, and Nails coming in and shutting down the merch tent, and people using the money they had to buy that merch instead of ours and other bands, affected the Damnation's merch sales to, I mean, a lot. So you're a bit like, you're not planning that in your wee budget meeting. You're going, I can circle that and safely say that we should make that, if not more, because more people will be on the grounds for more time to buy that. But you come back in the Celestial, like, how the hell damn? Well, because somebody just gave away £160 to get a Dragged Into Sunlight box set that they never even got until they had to get sent later. That's not a slagging Dragged Into Sunlight, it just wasn't there at the time. So it's, those factors are absolutely mental. And like, we printed joggies for Damnation, sold them out instantly. In fact, you'd think they're the greatest thing ever. Done the exact same blank, so the exact same joggies for 2 promoters, 1 pod, and took them at 2 festivals where people were sweating into their eyes, and sold none. No one wanted to buy joggies or long sleeve t-shirts. So you're a bit like, right, how do you forecast that? How do you take a hero product and turn it into the worst selling product of all time without knowing the weather forecast to 2,000 trees in that tangent?
Yeah.
So
you got no chance, basically.
I am very conscious, and I'm not going to continue to come on here and say, let's not go to 2 hour mark and then come on here and go to near the 2 hour mark. We had to restart this one, but we must be somewhere about the hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to be rambling on a wee bit there, or if I wasn't going to be rambling on, or if I get through enough. I've got another billion things that I could be telling you about: tables and benches, marquees, where we're putting them, the lighting and power, and the traders when they come in, how big they're going to be, how we're going to decorate the site, how we're going to get the decorations from my left to the site, all the Harris fencing banners, that we're going to get flags this year, what we're doing about the entry staff. I'm going to get a new team put together for dressing room management, which we've never done before, because we've never had a proper festival stops one day and then starts again the next day. So we don't want to be coming in on a Sunday and having 18 fucking dressing rooms that are all in a mess to have to try and sort out. So we're going to try and manage those through the day. Maybe for the first time ever saying to a band that plays at noon that they might need to leave the dressing room at 6, not to give it to another band, but because our team need to go in and clean up and put the stuff in and everything but the booze, because the booze will get stolen at them if we put them in the Saturday night for sure. And fucking backline, rock sock discounts, running the cables, Wi-Fi setup. I mean, it just... as I say, it's the to-do list is endless. I don't want to get into. I didn't know how long I was going to go on about some of that stuff. Happy to answer any questions in a future episode if you feel there's a part of my to-do list for Damnation that I haven't tackled. But if I keep going in this vein, we will make this a 3-hour podcast, and I'm not kidding it.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll ask the Damnation forum for some questions for a future episode. The one last thing I wanted to just check with you, that the Clash Finder remind me when that's coming out.
So
You
the
did tell me that.
start October for the Clash winner. I mean, that's another big, huge thing that I've said previously. So at the minute, you cannot send out it's like a document, it's like a fucking Bible that we send out to the tour managers and agents and the bands of this is exactly where you be, how you play, pictures of how you get into the venue, where you should park, your stage time, what will be in stage, that like an actual CAD drawing of the stage, the screen, everything you need. Now, that can't be done until every last detail's in place, and currently every last detail's not in place because we're still going backwards and forwards with the backline. But once those go out, then it's the next level of problems for me, well, everyone in the team, is, here's a big problem we never thought about. We share that sound engineer, we don't get the flights into that time, all that kind of crap that I spoke about in the last episode. So that's a big, I feel like with myself and Paul especially, a big sigh of relief when those go out and we don't get an absolute humdinger back, like, we're playing the Sunday. I thought the contract said Saturday. Those kind of ones where you're like, shit, this is not an easily to address problem. So, the to-do list is extensive, and there is bits where I sometimes think, even teams like when Radar Festival had a PR and marketing team, they had a firm they brought in and done it last year, so they can just go, boom, that's your job and you should go away and do that. There's bits of this that I possibly should have passed on or hired to, but I struggle a wee bit with, like, I've given up just about as much power as I can manage to, like, Angela, Callum, Paul and Marios at the minute. So we'll see how this goes. If it breaks me or not.
Good. Well, you look super chilled at the moment, so long may it continue, mate.
Okay. So just I've got a quickly one on the previously mentioned sponsors. First off, Lou's Brews, our sponsor, the pod sponsor, he will be out with us at least in Manchester for the tour, so you can pick up some stuff there. Yesterday, I made myself a like chicken, cheese and pepper like wrap, like toasted inside like a quesadilla. I chopped it up like a pizza, so I had my eights, my wee triangles, and then I took out my big tray of sauces and I ate every single triangle with a different sauce. We Lost to Sea, Winnie the Lou, Lord of the Wings, Dark Tangent, Damnation, and I just went through it. And you know how happy I was, James? Like a fucking pit, like delighted. Until I don't know why it made me so fucking happy, but I was like, I don't know if this is a problem at this point, if I've taken this too far, or this is just the way you should live your life if your life allows. I fucking loved it. It was a beautiful lunch. Every single bite different, for the wee zingy ones to the Jesus, he's ghosted one that like burnt the fucking mouth off me. Loved them. Love it. I love those. I love that company. Love that guy. The sauces are fucking incredible. You should go and get yourself a Two Promoters Burnt Peach sauce right now. lousbrews.co.uk. Use pod 15 at the checkout. Get yourself a haul. Post it up on the forum. Show off what you've got. Let people tell you what ones are good, what ones aren't good. And yes, Lou's Brews is the man.
Cracking. Good.
ISO merch. I just want to give him a quick shout out as well. See, the thing is, James, this is maybe a conversation I was having private with Ali, but we don't really operate like that. We need to put a bit of pressure on ISO merch to get more of the merch that I want to buy. So the problem at the minute is they've got a billion options, but like for me, I want an Exposure in the Sky t-shirt, I want a Mono t-shirt, I want a We Lost to Sea t-shirt, or if I'm feeling a bit more extreme, I want a Cult Leader t-shirt, or a Death Heaven, or a Veed Dude. And then the smaller bands want Crippling Alcoholism, and Overhead the Albatross, and Meryl Streak. And I don't want to have to go to Evil Greed, and I don't want to have to try and alter in for America, or have shipping charges. I want to get it for ISO merch where I can get it cheap, easy, readily, and trustworthy. So, Ali, we're going to have to... I know he's going to work with some of the bands that are on his stage already and hopefully can build some relationships there. I want to go on there and buy 6 t-shirts for bands that I know and love and smaller bands, and I want to get them delivered by ISO. The reason I'm saying that is because I know he can do it. He's got a collab with Relapse that seems to be proven successful, and you can go on there now and get Agaphoric Nosebleed, Amun Ra, Brutal Truth, Death, Bongzilla, Devourment, Dying Fetus, Gatecreeper, High and Fire, Mastodon. Now, you can't keep those at the $17.99 price point he's got for like the huge distributors like Nine Inch Nails and Black Sabbath, Metallica, but it's still only £23 to £25 to get those ones he's had to import in from wherever the hell he's got it. If he can get that deal with Holy Mountain or Evil Greed or whatever else that he can get them imported into UK and then we can get our hands on them. I mean, I checked Evil Greed. It's €175 you need to pay before you can even get free shipping. And then if you don't get that, it's fucking 15 quid. So it's almost like another t-shirt on top of your... Yeah. So Ali, this is my plea to you and your spectacular outfit. Can we get those bands involved too? Because, do you agree? Is there some bands where you like, I go into Iceland, but I've just missed that? Are we the kind of, if we are falling between the cracks with some of the bands that are on there, our audience is definitely falling between the cracks?
Yeah, Blood Incantation, I think, is probably one. I think they do. There's a bunch of the bands I love that you can buy records from I Saw, and I do. And I would like some T-shirts from Blood Incantation. Aranzi Pazuzu. There you go. That's my two. Okay,
done. So... last week's Patreon super sub, I sent you. Did you? I actually never printed it to read it myself. Did you have it?
I've got it here.
Hero. This is what James. This is what I love. I love it when the podcast, the festival sort of intertwine in their own wee sort of community led. So talk to me about it. I love this one.
So Kevin Thompson says, "Hi guys, thanks for picking me from the Jug of Joy. Rather than being a mercenary and asking for a personal freebie, I'm going to make a plea on behalf of all my long-standing trees comrades in Camp Backtits." They're called Camp Backtits. "I would love us to finally be officially immortalised at next year's trees with our own camping area and sign. We're an open group who've grown and grown over the last 10 years or so, regularly taking in waifs and strays and solo campers." He says he spoke to me at the London show and and I suggested they needed to make a sign. Did that happen? Who fucking knows? Anyway, I forwarded this to Rob, who deals with such things, and he is going to make it happen in some way, shape or form. Between Mark Weil and Rob and Dan, the team are going to make it happen. I don't know what that will look like, but yeah. Watch this space, Kevin.
There will be a Camp Backtits, did you say?
Backtits.
Okay, listen.
Also, Kevin, a reminder is needed nearer the time.
Making dreams happen at Trees through the pod. Talking that there's I had someone that was picked, Paul Hutchings, I think 2 episodes ago, and it's still here in front of me, which I usually leave in front of me if it hasn't been dealt with. I can't remember what it was he asked for. Maybe it was one a Damnation top this year or something. Remind me, Paul, just so I have got that. I have got that on my radar. And the poor bastard who still hasn't got his patch. Mate, if you're coming to Damnation, get a patch and I'll throw in a free pin to apologise for not getting it sent to you. If you're not coming to Damnation, remind me and I'll just get it sent with the pin also. So, apologies for that one. I'm just terrible at shit like that. I could never be a distributor for merch because you'd never ever receive it. So, that is that on the record. Hopefully this is going to keep us at this 130 mark that on my holy grail. Take us to the on the record, James.
Okay, I'm going to choose a song Raised on Graves by the band Blessings. Another brilliant band on Pelagic, which just has a habit of getting brilliant bands. I really love the sound they make. So the bands I would compare them to are Converge, Birds in Row, Ken Mode, Neurosis. So it's like very minor key, got some hooks, quite hardcore, but also very post-metal. Basically, if you like those bands, I think this is really, really fucking good, really high quality. I've been listening to it non-stop for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, the band is Blessings.
Well, you caught my attention and that was some fantastic bands for fans of, so I'm looking forward to that. I had a good wee run recently. I've noticed there's someone, and you know what I like? I don't know if you spot these on Instagram, but sometimes you get a new listener who's just kind of popped on and then they go back and kind of start from the start, and then you see them. You see the comments popping up and ones are like, how is Gavin's dad a 49ers fan? And like, oh, that was a great recommendation for like a podcast like 8 months ago. I forget the name of it, something about travel. So the guy, something about travel, or the woman, maybe something about travel. And I love it. I absolutely love the stuff, like the stuff you forgot about what you spoke about. But more recently, I've noticed there's been a few folk that I've really enjoyed the on the record submissions, especially at Radiohead's When I End, The New Begin, and that's kind of what led me to this one. Before that, I don't know I don't know if you got. Did you see my daughter's TikTok that she done when she never got a Radiohead ticket?
Yeah.
She said, "Don't post that anywhere." And then Kelly put in her story like, "This is definitely getting posted. You're gonna fucking." She's a funny being.
Incredible.
So I've been listening to a lot of Radiohead, and thankfully as well, I have to say, I think I mentioned about my algorithm sort of pummeling me lately with the sort of fucking American politics, which is just like dragging me into a bad place. And because I've went in a bit of Radiohead back on the hype train, I'm getting tons of Radiohead content in the algorithm, which I'm enjoying much more than my Donald Trump content. And the last night I was playing, was it In Rainbows? I was going back in Rainbows to see, well, some people are still saying it's better than OK Computer, which it's just not, but it is an absolute classic as well, and I'm warming to it more and more and more every listen. After that, it took me in a path that I haven't been in a long time, like through Bjork and Sigur Rós and Massive Attack, which is music that I was listening to quite a lot maybe 10 years ago, but not so much now, and I'm not sure why. And Massive Attack's Teardrop came on, and my God level. If anyone hasn't heard Massive Attack's Teardrop, you should have. It's been used in like Guy Ritchie films and fucking, I think it was House, a TV show. It's like it's like a hypnotic electronic loop that has this like simple riff and then piano, but then there's this vocalist, Elizabeth Fraser, that comes over the top of it, and it is just so gentle but gorgeous. And I love that tune. It's my favourite Massive Attack tune, and I would love to one day see it live. It's a band who have managed to escape me, I think, everywhere. So great crack. I hope that everyone enjoys that, and it sounds like a nice little foil to James's Birds and Row adjacent hardcore. So another couple of belters, but it sounds like on the record. I hope everyone's enjoying them. I haven't really said much about on the record in months and months and months, but while we're on the whole sort of hit that like, subscribe. We noticed last year we've had more thumbs up on the old fucking YouTube. Support them, they're on the record. You're supporting the bands. The more traction that those playlists get, be it on Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube Music, or Spotify, that's those bands that we are passionate about are getting a bit more shine. So make sure you follow that too. Follow the podcast, like, subscribe, pay to the Patreon, get yourself the jar of joy. 1 minute 30 people. I hope that's the case.
Fuck nice.
James, I will see you on the other side.
See you there, mate.